When do we see muscle mass being an issue? I've heard Joe Rogan talk about this on his show before, and they've talked about guys like Rumble, and they've talked about some of the other guys who get super jacked.
Yeah.
I think it was a problem for Vitor Belfort many years ago. He got up to like 240 pounds, and he was just really, really jacked. When do you see muscle mass being a problem, or is it even a problem? Is there a way to, can you still, if you're 230 or 240 pounds and you're in really good shape, you're really lean, can you still have the wind to get through it if you're like a low percentage body fat?
Yeah, absolutely. It's more difficult because now you have to intelligently train for that type of outcome. So when we talked about fueling earlier, we said, you have to fuel based upon the confines of your sport. What will you be doing? A lot of guys will go, and gals, of course, will go and they'll stop their MMA style training, which is more like gymnastics style training, body weight centric training, and they'll do a lot more weight work with very low cardio output, and then they'll kind of live a rather sedentary life. They'll train once a day, they'll go to the gym 3-4 times a week, they'll hit mitts a few times, nothing intense. And then within 8 weeks, they need to rip their body back into fight shape. There's just not enough time to really do that. And I think they're not feeding their body, they're not fueling their body adequately for that type of performance. They don't, and I think truly, I believe this is one of the biggest problem with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, I think, is one of the greatest athletes of our time. If you look at his resume, what he's been able to accomplish, nobody will ever say Conor doesn't train hard. The kid trains probably harder than the majority of the UFC athletes of all time. Problem, I believe, with Conor is why he really slows down in that second and third round. He's never made it a full fight with a full gas tank simply because he's being fueled incorrectly. He doesn't have the proper substrates available to fuel that type of activity. So, essentially, he'll crash diet down to get to the scale. He'll make weight. He'll look shredded, but then he can't go out there and push for more than 7 to 12 minutes without his whole body shutting down. He simply runs out of fuel. I think, and he's not the biggest guy, right? So you'll see the same issue with a Conor McGregor at 145 or 155 as you might see with an Anthony Rumble Johnson at 205 or 225. It's just a matter of improper fueling for the confines of the sport.
When you mentioned like MMA trainings or MMA resistance trainings, like gymnastics training, and then they go their off season, they lift. Why can't they lift with weights, maybe heavier or whatever, while doing MMA style training? Is that just too much stress? Is that too much risk for injury?
I think a part of it is because a lot of the athletes and coaches and teams, they don't understand how to properly periodize the training. They don't know where to fit it. Now, I don't like a Monday through Sunday template. I like thinking in more of hitting strength work every 3 to 5 days. If it's a Sunday, so be it. If it's a Tuesday, so be it. I don't care what the day of the week. Most of the time, I don't wear a watch. I don't pay attention to the calendar. I don't know what day it is. Sometimes I don't know what month it is. I'll tell Siri I got appointments or whatever going on. And that's the end of it, right? Because I don't care about any of that stuff. And I think that's a big part of the problem is the athletes, they try and do too much so they get nothing done. And the coaches, it's a committee of experts that typically don't communicate well with each other. They want 100% out of their athlete every time the athlete walks in. Well, if the wrestling coach runs the athlete through an Iowa-style 2-hour session on a Monday morning, and then the MMA coach wants them to spar on Monday night, guess what's going to happen? The athlete's going to get their ass kicked by a JV member, right? And possibly get hurt. And then
mentally not feel great.
And they're done, my Monday, how do I get through Tuesday and Wednesday? Then they're on the track maybe Tuesday morning because their strength coach is running them through, repeats at 400 meter repeats. Good luck with that, right? And they got a fight coming up, so now they're not on enough calories because they're trying to lose 20 pounds in the next 8 weeks.
As a fighter, how bad does that feel? When you were a fighter, it feels like everything you're doing is wrong. You're probably questioning yourself, your coaches, right?
Why am I?
Everything's just turned on you out of nowhere, right?
I'm going to get my ass kicked. I can't do this. What am I doing? I should have stuck with my finance job.
It goes south real quick, right?
And you just hit it on the head. One of the biggest parts I think about what I do is I manage the psychology of the athlete, making the athlete feel like a fucking world beater. Even when physically and athletically, talent-wise, they might not be. But if they feel like it, if they have that energy and they're running through practice, how do you feel? I feel great. Can you go more? Yeah. All right. We're going to shut it down. What do you mean we're going to shut it down? I want to keep that intact. I don't want them to get to that point where they collapse and fuck, I can't finish this round. Because that's what sticks out. I say, no matter what you do in training camp, there's 1,000 training sessions, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. When the athlete is sitting alone, waiting for their name to be called to make that walk, all they think about is the one thing they did wrong, the one time they pulled up in a sprint, the one round that someone not as good got the better of them. That's what they're thinking about. So if we can avoid those situations, highlight their strengths and push them and fill in all the holes and make sure they're ready to go. But a lot of it's building confidence. And we've seen athletes who walk out there who are not the most talented. The guy that knocked out Luke Rockhold. Come on, look at those guys side by side. Now, Jan he's an amazing athlete, but he's a journeyman. Luke was a world title holder, right? Side by side, there's no freaking way. Their pedigree, there's no way. Jan believed in himself. Luke, on the other hand, coming off a few bad fights, a few bad instances, that's what sticks in that. Man, what if that one big shot lands? I love Luke. He's got whatever his reputation is, I've always had a great relationship with him. We've traveled, done seminars and things like that together. Man, that happens. That happened to me. I got knocked out one time in training. It affected me the rest of my career. I caught a knee, boom, knocked me out, put me on my hands, busted my face open. For the rest of my career, I was always hesitant to shoot. So I would keep a fight on the feet where I would win. I was losing on the feet. I'd rather stand on the feet than take a shot because it was so ingrained in my subconscious, right? It's crazy. We're crazy. Human beings, we're fucking insane. We truly are. But you have to be aware of that. Okay, knowing that we're all insane, let's take the time and really address that and train for it.
What is this right here?
It's the Rockhold.
The Rockhold fight, yeah.
Yeah, he looked awesome. Looks wise, I mean, his physique looked awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, he got popped with some good shots.
Do you think it has more to do with like the fact that he is like a legit model now and he does so much stuff outside of MMA?
It could be. He's a little older. He's been in, big fights before. He's had his, bell rung. And that's a hard thing. I've seen it enough times. An athlete goes down one time, they go down a lot more. It's that first, like Chuck Liddell, Rampage knocked him out. And then from then on, man, it was a big deal. Now depending on who you talk to, everyone will have a different reason as to why. I'm not here to debate what the reasons are. We just know it's a fact. You go down one time, you go down a lot. And I think, maybe that's why Dana says, hey, man, Luke shouldn't be coming back anymore because we've seen him go out and they typically get worse. He's, I think hopefully Luke did well. Hopefully he's got some money behind him. I know he's got another career that he can do the modeling and dating, Hollywood starlets. I would do that for sure instead of getting ready for the octagon. That would be my choice. But man, you just don't know. There's always a time for an athlete to walk away, and I would love for the athlete to walk away one time before it's time. Just knowing so many of the guys.
With talking about keeping these athletes on like a high, and then you mentioned earlier, I can't get past the deli sandwich you mentioned earlier. Deli sandwich and some fries. Now ideally, like you're probably like, okay, grass-fed beef, and you want A, B, and C, and you want everything all lined up.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, do you throw stuff like that at them if the athlete can afford it in terms of their overall calories and stuff. You say, you know what, dude, just go enjoy yourself tonight with your wife, have a glass of wine, have at it food wise because you need it. We still got 6 more weeks. We're good. That kind of thing.
We do certain things. Now I have 2 different rules that we'll call them or principles. One of which is we call the earned meal. This is more for the off season. The earned meal is what most people call a cheat meal or a cheat day. The earned meal is, and it was created actually for Chael Sonnen, who's a crazy man, right? In his own way. Love Chael, one of the greatest guys on the planet. A crazy man in his own right. He loves cheeseburgers, he loves French fries, and he loves Coca-Cola out of a glass bottle with real sugar. That's what Chael absolutely loves. Like a little boy in this hulking man's body. So we created what was called the 4-hour window for Chael a decade or so ago, and it continues on to all of our clients. I say pick 2 days a month. Not every 7 days. It can't be every 7 days because then you haven't earned anything. It's an earned meal. Every 10 days, every 15 days, pick one day. It's your anniversary. It's your kid's birthday. It's a Super Bowl. Whatever it is, the fights are on. Pick that day, make that day your day. And for the 14 days beforehand, you better fucking work and earn that. Now, the 4-hour window is for those 4 hours. I don't care what you're going to eat. Eat whatever the hell you want to eat. Don't tell me about it because I'm going to nitpick you and right? Just don't even tell me, but go and have fun and purge that demon. What happens, and I've been doing this long enough, every time they do that, that first 4-hour window is disgusting. It's disgusting. And it makes them feel like shit because they've been eating really good for the last 2-3 weeks. The next time, it's bad, not nearly as bad. The next time, they have one bad thing. Pretty much stick to like a steak and potatoes type of thing. The next time, piece of cake, a couple pieces of pizza. They don't really kill it anymore.
They report back to you, they're like, I ate a Quest bar.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, all right, well, you really turned the corner, I guess.
And that's exactly what it turns out to be. And they get pissed. They're like, man, fuck you. Like, I can't eat the stuff that I used to love. I say, well, why? They say it makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
Well, that's an educational opportunity. Let's think about that for a second. All that poison and that toxic material that you're dumping in your body is telling you it's bad for you, makes you feel sick. What makes you feel good? Like this whole list of all these other ingredients, earth-grown ingredients that you eat all the time that makes you compete at world-class levels. You fucking look like a, sexy beast. Why do you want to go and poison yourself and feel like shit again? So there's a habitual response to those earned meals. And the next one, let's say use Mirsad Bektik, we use what we call refeed. Depending on if his weight's starting to drop too much, we refeed and essentially we double his food. Double, instead of like a 6-ounce burger, we're eating 8, 10, 12-ounce grass-fed steaks. And but we don't throw in bad food. It's like, man, you want French fries? We're gonna bake our own fries. Slice up a couple of potatoes, sweet potatoes. Make it was like one white baked potato, one sweet potato. Bake that. Put some raw local honey on the sweet potato. Get your ketchup or whatever, salt, pepper, on the white potato. Make yourself a big ass burger or two 8-ounce burger or 4-ounce burgers, whatever. Sprouted grain bread, cut off the crust, lightly toasted. You'd pay $30 for that meal in any fucking restaurant in Las Vegas. Why do you have to go to In-N-Out Burger and eat that? For what? Like, you can do it. Like, I'm not going to get too crazy mad, but let's still have benefit to it. If we're going to have a refeed, well, let's have some really good things, and let's not create
I like what it's teaching though too. It's like that food tastes delicious. Like what you just laid out sounds so good.
Right?
Sounds really good.
Like I would be stoked. I lived in Vegas for a while. Man, $30 for a burger. This better be fucking good. Every time I eat that burger, we have it, once a week in my house. Man, I would gladly give Gordon Ramsay $30 for that burger. No problem. And I'd send my friends there, right? Why wouldn't you want to do that? And it's going to cost you, a fraction of whatever the cost would normally be. You'll feel good the next day when you wake up. And you wake up, go for a run, hit your training. You don't miss a day. You don't have that food hangover like a lot of people do, right? We've all been there. I've been there. I used to be 280 pounds. Ate my way all the fucking way up.
You're not tall enough to be 280 pounds, I don't think.
It was disgusting. It was like just like this odd shape in like square, just like rolling around. It was nasty, yeah.